Donnie and Dolly, the team is supported by ableauctions.ca. Closing your business? We can help.
It's Monday. All of our guests today, including Elliotte Friedman, standing by, sponsored by Passant Motors. It is no tax November at Passant Motors. Purchase a vehicle from Passant, and they will pay the GST for you. For more information, go to basantmotors.com. Apparently, the doorman outside of the Bayshore back in the day used to wear the Beefeater uniform as well. Some heavy-duty, deep Vancouver trivia for you there.
So,
all right.
Beefeater's a gin. It's an alcohol, right?
Right.
Okay.
And a doorman, and a band member.
Elliotte would know the London Beefeaters right there in his home province.
There you go. From Hockey Night in Canada and the 32 Thoughts podcast, Elliotte Friedman. How are you, sir?
Those doormen at the Bayshore used to make sure I got to my room safely from time to time.
Yeah.
Yes.
Oh, very nice. A little tidbit there.
Hey, Elliotte, what can you tell us about the Vancouver Canucks? They lose last night, 1-0 to the Blackhawks. They lost 6 of 7. You know the story. What are you hearing about the Canucks? Is a major move imminent? Is there a split in the dressing room? We're hearing all sorts of stuff.
You know, Don, I don't know that I would say a major move is imminent, but I think all options are on the table. Like, you know, if we go back a week, it was a week ago today that ownership met. It was a week ago tomorrow where ownership met with Jim Benning. And, you know, the thing that is very clear to me and to, I think, everybody inside the organization is that they were absolutely not expecting the season to go like this. But what they have now realized is that if this doesn't change, then what are we going to do about it? And I think those conversations are going on. And there's no question in my mind, Don, that there's a feeling that something is going to happen. I don't think that people know what exactly that's going to be, whether it's going to be a firing of some kind or a trade. But I think everybody realizes that all possibilities are on the table. And I definitely get a sense that there's people inside the organization, and I think it goes right from top to bottom. They're sitting there and they're thinking, something's going to happen. We can't predict what the first thing that it's going to be. But we think something is going to happen if this doesn't change and fast. And the tough thing about last night was you guys played well enough to win, but we're past the point where there's such things as moral victories.
Yeah. What about the rumors of dysfunction, of tension in the room, on the ice? What about that?
Well, I believe it. And one of the reasons I believe it, Don, is that when you're losing all of the cracks in your foundation, they get exposed or they're made wider. Losing sucks. And when you're expecting, the interesting thing about all this to me is that, like, I've had a number of people reach out in the analytic community who say that their model said that they didn't think the Canucks were going to contend this year. And that's okay. If your model said that, right now it's proven to be right. But that's not what the feeling was amongst the team. The team thought they'd be better than this. The team felt they would be able to contend in the Pacific Division. I think there's some times, like if you're Arizona this year, Don, you know you're not going to be very good. And while it still sucks, your expectations aren't there. I think for this group of players, the expectation was certainly there. And when you're losing like this, and these are the kinds of results you're getting, I absolutely believe that the fissures break out all over the place, including in the dressing room.
Elliotte, you talk to a ton of hockey people. What's the feeling around the NHL and all your contacts about Pettersson and the struggles and 3 goals in 19 games, even strength points are nowhere where they need to be. Last night, Elliotte, a 2-minute power play for the Vancouver Canucks. You could tie the game. He's not on the ice.
Yeah, I got to tell you something, Rick, that in that particular situation, I think that there would be players who wouldn't be bothered by that. Right. They would say that you have to put the people on the power play who are producing, right?
Yeah.
And like Vancouver, it's an intense market, Rick. You're damned if you do it, you're damned if you don't. If Green puts Pettersson out there, you're going to have people saying, why is he putting him out there? He's not scoring. And if Green doesn't put him out there, you're going to have people saying, Why is he not putting him out there? Like, that's the kind of place you got to get him going, and he's your most skilled forward. So everyone's going to complain about it no matter what. But I think players understand why that sometimes happens. The Pettersson thing, the play that really stood out, because I got a couple texts about it, was on Friday night against Winnipeg when he had that chance to go to the net in the third period. And 2 minutes after it happened, John Garrett talked about it more in depth on a replay. Like, he waited to the next whistle to go back to it. And I had a couple texts about that from people saying, boy, like, if you're watching Pettersson, that's where you're concerned. And I don't know what the answer is. I don't know. Is he maybe concerned about re-injuring his wrist? Is he still hurting? Is, all of this kind of stuff. I think it's all of the above. He's just not the Pettersson we know for whatever reason. And I do think it's a source of frustration, probably for him as much as anybody else. And hockey isn't one player, but there's no question that him not being himself offensively is really hurting their offense.
Elliotte, you've covered this team for a long time. I might put you on the spot with this, but well, it's been 8 years, so it's not like it's a big revelation here. But anyways, this year, who do you put most of the blame on? You personally? Is it the owner, the GM, or the coach?
Look, in a season like this one, does anybody escape blame?
Yeah.
Look, like Rick, here's the thing. Like I said, after last week, everybody in the organization knows that there could be changes coming. Mm-hmm. And I don't know the timeline, but do you think anybody in there feels secure?
Yeah. No way.
And that's the thing. Like, when this when you're building up to this season, and this team was definitely building up to this season, this was supposed to be a big year for them, and it goes the way it's going, nobody escapes it. Yeah. Nobody escapes it. One of the reasons, Rick, I think they didn't make immediate changes at GM and coach were because they didn't want the players to be able to say, well, it's their fault.
Right.
So that's why I think they wanted the players to feel some of the pressure too, and for them to recognize that, the organization sees them also as part of the issue. So I don't think anybody feels safe or secure in their position.
Hey, Elliotte, one of the names that's been tossed around as somebody who might come into the organization if there were big changes is a blast from the past, and that's Mike Babcock, now working at the University of Saskatchewan. Will he return to the NHL? Can you envision that?
Yes, I do. I think that one thing that, Babcock is going to have to show is that, the mistakes he made in the past are things that he's learned from and won't do again. One of the things that, he was the other guy that Washington really seriously considered besides Peter Laviolette. I think Laviolette always had the inside track there. I think he was the guy. But I know Babcock had an interview with them where he absolutely blew them away. And but the thing is that, that when you first hire Babcock, you're going to face a lot of tough questions.
Yeah.
And I do think he will have a chance to get back in as long as he's shown that he's learned the lessons that he has to learn.
Elliotte, above and beyond as always. We'll let you go. Thanks so much for this. Appreciate it.
All right, guys. And I promise you, although I like my Beefeater, I wasn't just drinking that in the middle of the segment.
Yeah, I know.
Elliotte, that football team, though, the London Beefeaters, it's named after the alcohol, right?
Honestly, Rick, I don't know the answer to that question, but we'll go with yes.
He's fascinated by that.
They're in the Canadian Junior Football League final, Elliotte.
I know exactly who they are, but
I see. Okay.
Yeah. Because if I come on and I say yes and it's wrong, somebody from London is going to be tweeting at me and saying, "Why are you telling those people in Vancouver?"
Good point.
The gym. That's all.
Yeah.
Right.
No, the hair is looking good. Everything's looking good. We appreciate it, Elliotte.
Have a great day.
Have a great day.
Have a great day.